Getting ready for the game. We had a good practice last night. Came back. I was pretty pleased. The attitude of our team. Obviously, coming off two tough losses to two teams ranked in the top 15, and turn around with a team right now getting back at home. Big game, but a team that's been ranked, I think, as high as 19th or 18th this year. And team preseason pick to win the SCs. We're going to have our hands full. A very talented Georgia football team coming here. But we're excited to get back home in front of our home fans. Expecting another sellout crowd. And, when we build our program here, what we're building it on, one thing I've always said, you have to be able to win your home games in the Southeastern Conference. If you don't win your home games, it's hard to be successful and get your program up to championship level. So, big game for us this weekend back at home that looking forward to playing another tough team.
If you got a question, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you.
Updates on Marcus and Brandon with their injuries?
Yeah, they ran yesterday. They both ran yesterday out of practice. So we'll see on Tuesday. Obviously, today's the day off. We'll see where they are at Tuesday as far as their availability to go for the weekend.
Coach, as far as your plans for special teams, like the kickoff coverage, kickoff return, is there going to be like personnel changes, or kind of what's your plan for this week?
Yeah, well, we're going to try some different guys here and there, give some guys opportunities. What we got to see too is, a lot of guys, they earn the spot during practice and then don't perform during the game. So, we'll try some different guys. Not going to make wholesale changes, just a couple, give some other guys some opportunities to go make a play.
Coming into the year, your offensive line was one of your most experienced units. They've done some good things in the run game, but pass blocking has kind of been an issue. What's your take on that, and what are you seeing?
I just see, for an experienced group, we talked about it yesterday, they're not communicating very well. Everybody's kind of taking care of themselves instead of taking care of the line, and you need all five guys to play together. I think on our 13-play drive that we scored the other night, 9 of those 13 plays drives, everybody, the five linemen all graded S, doing the right thing for us. So, it's a shock what happens when all 5 offensive linemen on the same play do the right thing. 9 of those 13 plays on that drive, they all graded an S to do exactly do their job. And we were successful. So I think we talked to them a lot. It's just making sure they're communicating, everybody's on the same page to get the job done. And if we get that done, I do expect us to play much better on the offensive line.
Is it a similar thing in that first drive in the second half of the Auburn game, where it just seems like they come out of the locker room, they're communicating, doing everything right, and then after that?
Focus, I don't know if that's what it is, or just, some adjustments we make at halftime here and there, and then, maybe we get complacent. I don't know what it is, but, what we got to do is it's consistent across the board. A lot of it comes with leadership. We need guys to get up and talk. We have some great senior leaders by example. We need some senior leaders that are vocal, to stand up and communicate with the rest of the team of what needs to be done.
Did Chris practice yesterday? And
Ralph?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was fine.
Did he suffer a concussion?
No, he got dinged. I saw him. He looked a little groggy coming off, and Tyler did a good job. And at that point, we went with Tyler, and by the time it would have been really to make another decision, we were in a comeback mode anyway, and so I figured let's see what Tyler can do in that situation.
I'm hogging the mic. One last question.
Yeah.
KJ Wright, you talk about, seems to be an anchor back there, and, of course, having 12 tackles against LSU. I think he had something like 8 in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm. He did. The shame of it is he did real well. He did okay against Auburn. Chris White had a huge game against Auburn. And we go to LSU, and Chris White has his worst game of the season, and KJ has his best. And that consistency throughout the team is something you need to get going. So. But KJ, both of those guys as seniors, we have very, very high expectations for KJ, as we do for Chris and, our leaders of our team. But they have to play. When you're leaders, you're top players. Big-time players, they have to make the big-time plays in the big games, and that's what we need out of those guys.
Going back to the offensive line and everything, all the interceptions, looking back at the film, was that a lot of the offensive line's fault, not enough time to throw, or quarterback's decisions? Where do you, I don't know if you assign blame, but where does that
you can
go?
assign it on every single one. Chris, the first one, should have let him out the receiver out a little bit more, but one, we got to go make that play. Their guy makes a spectacular play, we don't. And the next one, offensive line missed a protection and let a guy run right in the A gap. Chris trying to throw it away, didn't throw it away enough. Let me think. I know Tyler's one. He checked the protection. The running back didn't get the protection check. One of the ones in the second half. The screen pass just complete whiff by the running back and the right tackle on protection. On one of other Tyler's. I mean, two guys completely go the wrong way, and quarterback gets hit as he's throwing the ball. That's what happens. So, there's plenty of blame to go around for everyone, and give them. Patrick Peterson made 2 unbelievable plays on interceptions. So, there's some credit to them as well as some poor performance by us.
Going past the interceptions, just looking at the offense, big picture, how would you assess how it's been so far, its strengths and weaknesses?
The strengths is we're not far off when you watch the film. The weakness is we just have no consistency. We had one offensive penalty the other night. It happened to be after our longest play of the game, a 22-yard gain. We jump off sides. That is what great offenses don't do. They capitalize on one play after the other and play with consistency. That's what I haven't seen out of us, is that consistent performance offensively. Now, when you watch it on film, you can point to it on every single play. We watched it as a whole offense yesterday. I said, what about this touchdown if this guy did his job? Yeah, how about the next play? Well, that was a touchdown if this guy did his job. How about the next play? Yeah, it was a different guy, didn't do his job that play. But, man, if he had made that block, we would have scored. So we're not far off. We just got to be more consistent.
How much of the offensive line, the protections and directions is given to the quarterbacks? Because notice Tyler making a lot of changes at the line, Chris making changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're the ones that they're responsible. I mean, being a quarterback, they want to set the protections for us and manage the game while they're up there. And you know what? I thought, especially going on the road in that type of environment, I thought they did a pretty good job of handling that stuff. And what happened is the line did a poor job of, once he checked it to them, of not making sure they were all on the same page.
You've mentioned it the last 2 games, the kickoff to start the second half. Clearly, it was a pop-up kick that's supposed to be angled. But can you explain if it were done efficiently, what Sean was trying to get accomplished there?
Yeah, we were trying to pop it up. The ball should land on the 25-yard line on the numbers. And practice it all week. You practice it over and over. Practice it all preseason camp. And it wasn't even close to where, as soon as he hit it, it just went straight out of bounds. That's just, that's not performing when your number's called. Like a lot of guys, guys have opportunities to make plays during the course of the game. And everybody would like an opportunity to make the play. Then you get the opportunity and you don't make it. That's not being prepared for your moment.
On a totally different topic, everybody made a big deal in the preseason about Georgia converting to a 3-4. You've seen a 3-4 already. Was it more a big deal if they've never done it before, then you won't be able to get a chance to look at it, or is that a big deal?
I guess it's tougher, if it was game 1. We have 3 games of them playing their defense this year, so I don't think they've played a team like us to judge much off of, but at least you can see what the fundamentals of their defense is, how they're using their personnel, and they're very, very talented on defense.
You've gone against Georgia before with Mark Richt, some heated battles there at Florida, but what can you expect from a Mark Richt coach team?
They're gonna run the football. That is their number one deal, to be a physical running team that loves the play action pass. So usually most teams that are great power running teams are going to take shots in the play action pass. So, you have to stop the run while you're defending, not giving up the big play in the throw game. They have a very talented quarterback that can make all those big throws. Done the defensive side of the ball out of his team while he's been there. Just very, very athletic defenses. They put guys out there on the field that can run. And they're always one of the fastest, if not the fastest team in the SEC year in, year out.
Similar situation they're in, having lost back-to-back games. I wouldn't say desperation mode, but 2 teams in similar situations.
Big game for both programs. Big game for the, you're looking at coming out of this game. Someone's coming out of this game, with a pretty good jump start on the rest of the season. And I know, both of us playing obviously tough very difficult early season schedules in conference. To get out, we get out of this run at 2-2. That's going to set us up, hopefully to have a successful season.
Georgia, they have breaking in a new quarterback. They're missing one of their star wide receivers. Is there anything else that's different about this Georgia team than the teams that you faced when you were at Florida?
No. I mean, the quarterback's very, very talented. He's a redshirt freshman, but enrolled in school early. So, he's been there for 2 springs, 2 fall camps. Got to see a whole season last year. Now, he's playing. So, Aaron's a very talented quarterback. I know I recruited Aaron since he was actually as a freshman in high school as MVP of the quarterback camp I had at Florida. So, I've known him for a long time and a very, very talented player.
Kind of assess the play for Noah McPhee. Have teams just been loading up on him, or have you expected more of him to this point?
No, I think he's done a pretty good job. I think teams are conscious of where he is on the field, but he's done a pretty solid job. I think we do need to do a better job getting past pressure, but we've been pretty stout against the run so far, so I've been pleased with his play, and we haven't played a team yet that was just going to line up and try to throw the football all over the place. When you play that team, that's where the pressure for him has to one-on-one defeating the blocks has to come into place.
A couple of guys on offense, Bumpus and Evans. I don't know if you've gotten the production out of them you want. At what point do you maybe say, okay, Jamie Michael Carr, here's your shot?
Yeah, not until those guys are ready to play. You got to see those guys at practice every day, and until they're ready to play, they know what they're doing. It's a big, big step for those young guys to be able to step on the field and perform at the SEC level. You can do a couple things here and there against the scout team at practice, and you got Patrick Peterson walked up pressed in your face right there. It's going to be a little different than high school football was. So, I think our receivers responded last week. We're still very, very young at that position. So, it's the all-around game development. I thought we did a nice job blocking in the receiver position the first 2 weeks. Fell apart last week. We don't do a great job catching the ball against Auburn. We catch the ball pretty well against LSU. It's putting those full games together. And when you're young guys, you're focusing on, so much of, there's so much to learn and so much to be developed week in and week out, that, when you go put the focus on one thing, you watch the next thing will take a little bit of a step back with young players because, they don't have that maturity and that foundation yet to be the total player. Thanks.